Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. I hope your day has been great. And if you're still in the afternoon, like I am, I hope your day is going well. Today, we're going to be talking about how to obtain the United States green card in 6 months. What are the strategies? What type of green card? What documentations are required to be able to get your US green card in 6 months? Now, I had shared a video on Saturday about two people, a couple, getting their US green card. And this is something that we talk about frequently on here. I wanted to come back because we got a lot of people saying, okay, walk us through the process again. Juggle our memory about how do we get our US green card in 6 months. I want to know where you're joining us from today before we get started. I want to know, tell us in the comment section where you're joining us from today. I also want to know a bit about your background. If you don't mind telling us your profession, or if you're an entrepreneur, what exactly do you do? We'd like to know. Again, welcome everybody. I have a few things to share. I want to make sure that any information that I'm giving to you today, we're also going through the USCIS website. This is not a legal advice. I want to first of all state that so that we all know that you're learning from me, and we're both reviewing also what is standard from the USCIS website. Now, let's start with what type of green card can you obtain as quick as 6 months, and based on what we want to talk about today. There are, when it comes to obtaining green card, there are many methods to do that, whether through family connection or an employer is filing for you. But we also have certain types of green card that you can self-petition. So you're an entrepreneur, you're a professional that is accomplished. You can either file EB2NIW, employment-based. EB means employment-based. National interest waiver preference 2, or you can file EB1A, which is the employment-based first preference, the A version of it. Now, the green card that you can get in 6 months at the moment is the EB1A. Why is this so? The priority date is current, which means if you get the visa approved right now, if you get your I-140 approved right now, you can actually go ahead and pretty much get the green card itself started, the process started. So I want to walk us through who qualifies for this process and how does it work? What are the things they need? I'm hoping that I can share my screen. So give me a minute or so to be able to come online here from my screen. Right, just a second. Present, share screen. All right, I'm hoping that at this time you can see my screen. I'm currently sharing from the USCIS website, and I want to go to the top so you can see it, that is from USCIS. And what I'm sharing right now is what we'll call the policy manual. And this is the policy manual that has been released to the public, where USCIS is educating us that this is how you file if your petitioner files an immigrant petition for alien workers. So when you want to file this petition, there are two stages to it. The first thing is you get your Form I-140 approved. So you can self-petition this. What that means is that you don't need an employer to sponsor you. So if you're qualified, you can put your case forward, and you can use agencies who understand this as well. So we want to go through now, step by step, what are the eligibility criteria, and what do I bring forward for the USCIS to be convinced that I am a good person who should be allowed to come to this country. There are two, inside the policy manual, they have two areas. There is the eligibility, which is the A, and then there is also the evidence of extraordinary ability. I want to skip the eligibility first and come to the extraordinary ability, and then we will go back to A after we have done that. Now, so if we're thinking about what are the evidence that I have to put forward for you to qualify for what we'll call the EB1A, oftentimes there are 10 different types of evidence. We call them criteria. And then outside of those criteria, you have to be able to make sure that you meet at least 3 of these criteria. Now, I want to go down here. So the first step is the determination. We want to determine whether you met 3 out of those 10 criteria. So here are the 10 criteria, 10 of them. And I want to start with the first criterion. We are trying to see whether the people on this call today, how many criteria do you meet out of the 10? Because if you don't meet the criteria that is up to 3, you have 2. Then we want to discuss what are the other things you can get. Once you get these 3 criteria, then we can, or more than 3 criteria, then we can now think about what else surrounding this do I have to further add to make my case a lot stronger. Now, one thing I see online is that people are oftentimes fixated on the first criterion. The first criterion is receipt of lesser nationally or internationally recognized prizes or awards for excellence in your field. First of all is you need to be able to identify, who am I? What am I? How do people perceive me? So maybe you are a professional. What type of a professional are you? A mechanical engineer. Or who am I? I'm a biomedical engineer. Or I'm an entrepreneur. What type of entrepreneur are you? Or I sell this. Or I'm a founder of a company. And then we are now looking to see that based on who you are, have you been given some awards? Have you been given something based on who you are? And I'm explaining this because it has to be in the field of endeavor. This is not just an award that you were given because you're saying your field of endeavor is medicine. I'm a medical doctor, but you have received an award for sports. Yeah, that is not your field of endeavor. So even if it's an award, we cannot use it because it's not in your field of endeavor. Oh, we want you to take a step back at this point to look at what type of awards have I received in the past. Now, you can see here nationally, lesser nationally or internationally recognized prizes or awards. And what type of awards will qualify for this? You can see here examples. USCIS provided us examples of those awards. Certain awards from well-known national institutes or well-known professional associations. So let's say you are a member of ICANN and you have been recognized by ICANN as maybe for something. You were recognized by ICANN as maybe a trailblazer of the year. And ICANN was able to say that we picked you as the trailblazer of the year. And there was a selection criteria that maybe your name was submitted and 1,000 other names were submitted. So because we need to be able to show the selection criteria that they didn't just pick one person, and there was no competition. We need to be able to show that there were a lot of people that applied for this and that you were picked for a certain reason. Now, secondly is it could also not be from a professional association. It could be a certain doctoral dissertation award. So I had, as a PhD candidate or as a PhD person, you were doing your PhD, you had won maybe some sort of award based on your doctoral dissertation. You can see the emphasis on doctoral there. That maybe at the end of your PhD, they had given you some selective awards by your university or by a research institute that you're associated with or something related to that. And certain awards recognized in presentations and national international conferences. Maybe you are a researcher. You had presented at a conference and you had won something like best poster presentation, and it was chosen because of the innovation in that presentation. You have won that best poster presentation or something like that, and maybe there were 100 posters and your poster was picked because of the innovation in the poster. So we have a selection criteria that they selected me based on ABC, right? So I'm giving these examples. Or what if it is an award from the company I work for? I won an employee of the year. Oftentimes, an award from a company you work for is restricted. And for that reason, it may not pass in this category. So it's not everything that passes in this category. category, but some things pass in this category. And oftentimes, when people come and have a session with me, you will show me these are the types of things I have for awards, and we can look at which ones can pass for that category. And sometimes something may even look like it would pass. Oh, I've had people ask me, oh, this type of scholarship that I won for my master's, will it pass? And when we look at the level of the scholarships, it didn't pass that category. And I'm explaining this because some things may pass that category and some may not. Oh, my company is a big company, so it should pass. No, it is usually something on an industry level, not one company. If it's an industry level, like when you go to conferences, researchers from your industry, from various universities, from various companies, they come together. It's an industry level. So any type of award you want to bring forward or any type of recognition, you should first of all analyze it. Is it on an industry level? If it is, maybe it would work. Now, we want to check national or international significance of the prize or award. And that is why it's good for it to be an industry level. Because if it's an industry level within your country or within your continent, then it's now on a national level. It's not like one company just gave you that award. Number of awardees or prize recipients, very, very important. So let's say this type of award, they only give it once a year. And oftentimes we want to kind of check, we want to confirm, right? Like, okay, is this something that they are distributing like pure water? Or is this something that it is for selective people? The selective people. So in that case, it's not something they're distributing like pure water that I just ask you to pick one of it. It is selective. They want to know how many of those are given yearly. Limitations on competition. So when we want to, I've seen cases where people just say, this is the award certificate. They don't have any other thing. Oh, I don't know how many people got the award. And we can't find it online. And I'm talking about some of the bottlenecks that we see when we're working with Africans, right? Like, okay, they have gotten this award. There is no media features. We looked at the organization that gave the award. There is nothing on their website like that. The contact information looks sketchy. It's all just looking like that. I'm explaining this because some of these things will make it difficult to use that award because everything around the people that gave you the award is sketchy. And that is why it's important, apart from the award itself. Who gave you the award? How prestigious is that organization? Do they have track record or something that we can use to identify them as a prestigious organization? That will help. So that is one criteria. Now, what I see a lot of is that people will say, this is for if you have a Nobel laureate or if you have you won the Emmys or Grammy. This is what you get. Like, it's not for everybody. Now, for how this type of award works, right? So it could be a big time award like that, but it could also be something that is not that big, right? I want to go to another screen and show you something else. Now, because we have the opportunity now to do this, it doesn't mean that if somebody have Grammy or Emmy or something that big, we cannot use theirs, right? So I want to go to another screen. Just a second. I'm going to remove this screen and then try and stop screen. I want to now go to another screen. 1 second. Can you see I'm sharing? This is the one I was reviewing before is the USCIS policy manual. Is very detailed. The one I'm reviewing here, this is what publicly most people actually use for EB1A evaluation. And I want us to go through, where did that word come from? When people are saying that this is for people who have Nobel laureate and big stuff like that. Criteria for demonstrating extraordinary ability. And the USCIS said, in order to demonstrate you have sustained national or international acclaim and that your achievement has been recognized in your field, you must either include evidence of a one-time achievement or major internationally recognized award. And I think it is if you won an Olympics medal, if you want like Oscar, Grammy, something that one-time achievement, major internationally recognized award. You won the Peace Prize Nobel Award, or something that big. You don't need to provide those three other evidence anymore, right? With that single thing, we can apply for this category for you. It is an option. Or if you don't have those big awards, then you need to meet 3 out of this 10 evidence. So is this 10 evidence we are reviewing on the policy manual and going in depth? I hope this is clear, because I've seen people ask me that. They said for that EB1 is extraordinary ability. They said I have to have won like Grammy or something as an actor. We work with a few actors, Nigerian actors, that I have to have won like a big time award like the Oscar. I'm saying that that is an option. If you have that level of one-time achievement, you know someone that has won African Footballer of the Year, someone that has won Olympic medal, some big time, one-time achievement, that alone can qualify them for this category. Now, for us that doesn't have that level of award, then we need to meet 3 out of these 10 evidence. Now, the first one I just explained on that previous document is really the if you have won any other award, right? It is lesser than an Oscar, a Grammy, but it's still an award within your company, within your country, or within your continent, or even overseas, but it's not just on the level of an Oscar or a Grammy. That can serve as one of your 3 evidence. I hope this makes sense. I have an Olympic medal. That alone is enough. I don't have something on that level, but I also have an award. Then it can contribute to one of the 3 that you're looking for. Now, oh, nobody was seeing my screen. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, right? This is another document I'm sharing. This is the one I've been talking about, right? For this one, I'm showing, it's also from USCIS's website. I'm helping you understand that if, for those people who are wondering, no, this is not, okay, right here. So this is also from USCIS, but I wanted to clarify for people who are saying, oh yeah, I need to have won an Oscar or something like that. So I was reading this out that USCIS said that you must either, it's an either thing, include evidence of a one-time achievement of major internationally recognized award. And that is when I was mentioning Oscar, Grammy. If you have that alone will qualify you for EB1A. Now, if you don't have awards that big, then you need to provide 3 out of these 10. We have 10. We just need to make sure that you meet at least 3. So you can see it, 3 of the 10 listed below. And then this is the first one that we had talked about. Now, people had asked me, why is it called EB1A? What is EB1B? Is there EB1C? Yes. Under here, you can see here, there are 3 categories. The one that we are talking about right now, the extraordinary ability one, is the EB1A. So now, what is EB1B? That is for outstanding professors and researchers. So I'm a professor, I have a PhD, I have been working in a university, or I'm a researcher. I actually work in a research lab or doing research in a company. And then this could be the one for you. For this one, though, you can see it. You must demonstrate international recognition of your outstanding achievement. You must have at least 3 years of experience in teaching or research in that academic area. You must be entering the United States in order to pursue tenure or tenure track teaching or a comparable research position at a university, institution, higher education or private college. So this is specifically for people who are researchers. And in this case, you have to be coming to continue as a researcher. You cannot get this and say that, I'm not continuing, because it actually is something that you have to provide an offer of employment from a U.S. employer. So EB1B requires an offer of employment. EB1A, no offer of employment or labor certification is required. That is why, even if you're a researcher, you don't have an employer who have said they will give you a job, then we'll stick to EB1A for you. Because the EB1B, which is for professors and all of that, needs that a company or a university has given you a job offer. And that is why EB1A is the one that I like, because you are not bounded to an employer. You are not having to say, I have to get to a sponsorship job first before I can apply. There's nothing like that. And there is no age requirement. There is no IELTS requirement. There's no proof of funds requirements. All of those several requirements that worries people, none of that is part of this, which makes it easier. Now, there is also EB1C. EB1C is for a multinational manager or executive, from senior director up. You are a senior director, you're a vice president, you're working for a company, or you are on that high level, right? You must have been employed outside the United States for at least 1 year in the last 3 years preceding the petition or the most recent lawful non-immigrant admission if you're already in the United States. So if you're not gotten to the level of vice presidents and all of that, this may not work for you, right? And you can see for EB1C, also no labor certification is required. So if you're on that level of, I am a VP, I'm a senior vice president, I am something like that, we may consider EB1C for you. But for everybody, I'm a professional, I'm a director, I'm a senior manager, I'm a scientist, I'm a professor or I'm a researcher. I just want my green card. I don't want attachment to an employer. We stick to EB1A. Now, I hope that this is clear. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We're now going to go back to the policy manual, then continue to number 2 of our evidence that we're reviewing. Just a second. Okay, so I'm hoping that I'm sharing my screen at to stage. So I hope I'm sharing my screen, and please let me know if you can see it. We have talked about criterion 1, and I hope that you're thinking about it right now, looking at the various awards that you had. Now let's talk about the second criterion. We have 10 criterion. You are trying to see out of the 10, which 3 do I have, or which 2 do I have, so that I can go and get a third one, or which ones look like I could have gotten it, but maybe I can spend the next 6 months and gather my evidence. Now, for criterion 2, it's membership in associations in the field for which classification is sought that require outstanding achievement of their members as judged by recognized national or international experts in their disciplines or field. Now, what does this mean, right? Oh, if I have a membership with ICANN, will this suffice? No, it will not. Yes, it says that a membership in certain professional associations or a fellowship with certain organizations or institutions. Why won't my ICANN membership suffice? The reason is because there's something called considerations under here, right? Considerations is when you submit your evidence, USCIS will look and say, do you meet our considerations? Otherwise, you're going to get an RFE based on the things that are under their consideration. Now, let's state a few things. Relevant factors that may lead to a conclusion that the person's membership in the association was not based on outstanding achievement. Your membership must be based on outstanding achievement. It cannot just be like I paid the fees and then I got in. So if your membership, they said that, was not based on outstanding in the field, but are not limited to, for instance, where the person's membership was based on the following factors by themselves or in the aggregate: a level of education or years of experience in a particular field. If that is all that is required, that you are an accountant, that you are an engineer, that you have education, or you have 5 years experience, then that is not a membership we can use. A payment of a fee by subscribing to an association publication. So a lot of associations have membership fees. If you have to pay to join, a requirement, compulsory or otherwise, for employment in certain occupation. So, for example, in the US, if you are an accountant, you will try to become a CPA. In Nigeria, if you're an accountant, you try to become an ICANN certified person. If you are an engineer, you will try to have Koren in Nigeria. If you're an engineer in Canada, you will try to be a PNG. So it's sort of a compulsory or requirement. In that case, we cannot use that membership. And I'm explaining this because I know somebody will ask me in the comment section, I'm a member of PMI. You pay the fees, I mean, you don't pay fee. You pay fee, I mean, you don't pay fee. So before we say we are presenting that evidence, I have to ask you, you pay fee, I mean, you don't pay fee. If you pay fee, move this direction. People that pay fee over here, people that don't pay fee over here. If you have to pay to join, if this association requires that you must have 20 years experience, 10 years experience before they give you fellowship, if it requires that you must have a degree in this particular field before they give it to you, then we cannot use that type of fellowship. There are some fellowships like Desmond Tutu Fellowship, some fellowships that doesn't require that you pay. You actually submit your application that you want to become a fellow. Hundreds of other people submit, and then they pick the top of the top in that career. And I want to now switch to being a career coach. Most of us who are Africans, we only apply for things we need. We don't apply for things that help us to be connected. We don't apply for things that helps us to be prestigious, except our companies say they need it. I know that as you're sitting here, you will not apply to Fulbright Fellowship, except you know that the money will give you scholarship to go to school, right? But normally, something like that, because you think, I have a first class, I want to mingle with like minds who are in my field, I would apply to Fulbright Fellowships and see whether they actually meet me. And there are several types of fellowships like that you can look up and see what's the application criteria. I have to write an essay and talk about my achievements, what I've done. Go and find those fellowships. Because if you paid for that fellowship, you pay, or you don't pay, we cannot use it. Or is somebody was asking in the comment section here, can I use ICANN or something like that? No, because you paid for ICANN. You don't pay for ICANN. You also wrote, ICANN is falling under this such category. It's a requirement. Same thing with that your Koren that is in your hand. It's a requirement for employment in certain occupations, right? If it is a requirement for you to be able to be paid well or get a job or something, then it cannot be used. Or you that in that your membership, they say that you have to have 10 years experience before you can move to a fellowship. Then it defeats the purpose. Then USCIS doesn't want that. So I'm emphasizing this because people are complaining. I'm in various groups and say this membership, they don't even approve people because it looks like we're not even reading the instruction then. Because we're not reading the considerations to see that USCIS has made it clear that if you paid for that membership or they gave it to you because you have qualifications or you have this amount of work experience, or that membership is because you need it for a job, as a requirement that you got it, they will not accept it. I am actually going through the policy manual just because a lot of the questions you will ask me, they're there so that you can also hear it from the USCIS mouth. Who is USCIS? USCIS. All right, now let's move on. Number 3, criteria that we can look at whether you have published material about the person in professional or major trade publications or other major media relating to the person's work in the field or for which classification is sought. Such evidence must include the title, the date, the author of the material, and any necessary translation. They're already telling you from the beginning that whatever you want to submit to must include the date, the title, and the author of the material. What is this? Published material about the person. And it has to be relating to your work. The Guardian interview you did, Dr. Adi inspiring journey. Dr. Adi, when she was a pepper seller, Dr. Adi was a pepper seller turned PhD holder. 90% of that interview was about my upbringing, what made me resilient. Can I use it? No, I cannot use it. Why? Because it wasn't talking about 3D printing. It wasn't talking about biomedical engineering. It wasn't talking about manufacturing engineering. 90% of it was talking about what? It was talking about Dr. Adi's life outside of my profession. And I'm explaining this because it's important for us to know that there are some, yes, you may have media features, but that media feature is talking about your life, your philanthropy life. You were a philanthropist. It's not going to be used. First of all, what type of media publication or published material can we use? Professional or major print publications, newspaper articles, popular or academic journal articles, books, textbooks, similar publications regarding your work. So let's say somebody published a book about 50 women in cybersecurity in the world, and you are one of those people in that book. They wrote about your work, what you do, but there are other 49 women. We can use that book, especially if we can prove that that book has sold 1 million copies. If we can prove that that book, this is the third edition, if we can prove that that book is in various schools, they are using it to teach kids something, then we can use it. Now, newspaper articles. There was a newspaper article about your work. That newspaper article was about you talking about your profession, or you're educating the masses about polio and educating what could cause polio, what are some of the research that you are doing on polio, and educating people how to avoid polio and ABC, which means over 70% of this is about your work. We can use that newspaper article. What type of other things can we use? Professional or major online publications regarding the person or the person's work and the person's work. So it could be maybe online magazine. It could be other things as well, right? There was one of our clients that had a professional association that they belong to, did a feature on them and put it on their website, like ACCA in the UK, did a media feature on this Nigerian lady, right? ACCA has a magazine, and that magazine, AB magazine or something like that. And every month they will pick a personality, and then they will interview the personality, and then they would share about that person's journey, their expertise and everything on that AB magazine by ACCA's website, and send you that thing. So this client was featured in that. Can we use that? Yes, we can use it. It's a professional. What type of audience does that have? Professionals like her, they are reading about her story. So I'm explaining this for you to know that there are many other things. Can I use a television? I've appeared on Arise TV. I've appeared on TVC. I've appeared on Channels TV. Yes, we can use that as well. We can take the extract from that TV interview if a majority of the discussion center around your career. We can take extract from that and use that as well. Transcripts of professional or major audio or video coverage. And that is the one from TV, or you had a radio interview with Radio Nigeria. If that still exists, we can take the transcript from that and use it as well. Now, there are some considerations here, right? Like I said, it cannot be that you are talking about something else that is not your work, right? So USCIS wants to know, is this a major media? We have to be able to convince them that it is a major media. Secondly, we have to be able to say that it is about you, relating to your work and field, not just about your employer or your employer's work, or about another organization or that organization's work. So if it's everything you are talking about is about your employer, then it will not make sense. Because let me now switch to career coach mode. You are a company of one. Your company that you work for doesn't own you. So you should be able to talk as a subject matter expert in a field. And I know some of us, we carry the company we work for, we carry it and put on our head like it is food that you are hawking like gala. Eh? You are a subject matter expert. That is why that company hired you in the first place. And when you get a chance to talk about you, don't make it about where you work. Make it about you. Make it about your expertise. Talk like an expert. And because I had read, because of the type of work we do, right? When we do our editorial services, some people will bring stuff. You will read it and feel like, why are you hiding under that company? They ask you a question. And instead of you to just stand as an expert and say, from my previous experience, I've done this and this, then you make it about the company. And now we can't use it because everything was just always about the company. You can not also use marketing materials created for the purpose of selling. You are an entrepreneur. You have built an app and then you are launching that app. Then you did a media feature on Channels TV that you paid for. They have said that they cannot accept the one that was paid for. It's there. USCIS said if it's paid for, we don't want it. And then you went on that TV, you talked about the product, but you were talking about it as a marketing material. You were telling them where to find the products, how the product works, and all of that. We cannot use that. And I'm explaining this because most entrepreneurs have media features, but it's about their products, it's about their services, it's about what they do. It's not technically about them as an expert. So I want you to think, right? Whatever you have, that's why I tell people, book a consultation. Let's look at what you have so that we can tell you, is this paid for? It won't work. But this one, well, it works or it doesn't work, right? So remember that it can't be what was paid for. It can't be a marketing material that was used. It can't be about your organization. It can't be about something that is not related to what we want to present you as an expert in. It cannot be any of that. I hope that answers any questions that you may want to ask in that regard. Now, moving on to another criteria here. So this one is for if you've participated on a panel, either individually or on a panel as a judge of the work of others or allied field of specification for which your classification is sought. Are you an expert in a field? And have you been able to judge other people's work? What are the examples of judging other people's work? They gave us example here. Peer reviewing of a scholarly journal as evidenced by a request from, so let's just start with this. Peer reviewing of a scholarly journal. If you have published a paper, if you have a master's, this is something that I expect that you do. You know, back in the day, I'll see that when I was still doing my PhD, I'll receive emails from journals. They are asking me if I want to come and be a reviewer for papers. And I remember that oftentimes in the beginning, because of how overwhelming the PhD was, I'll just reject and say, I don't have time to be doing peer reviewer. And I want to talk to us as Africans that oftentimes we don't do good deeds because we don't think anything is in need for us. Some of you have received this request to come and be a peer reviewer, but you have just said, no, I don't have time because you think there's nothing in it for you. And now I hope that you are feeling ashamed because you have had an opportunity to do this, but you didn't. I want you to, if somebody approached you for something, can you offer a goodwill? Because you don't know where you will need it tomorrow. If you're a person who is in academia, this is something that you should do, whether you need it or you don't need it. That is how academia works. If you have been approached, it means that you're an expert in a field that is relevant. And they are wanting you to come and peer review other people's publications because this is how it works. Now, apart from publication, what else can I do? So there's a client of ours that is an artist, an actor. And then, but this person used to be like, was on that Mr. Nigeria, Mr. Keniko thing, right? So he was judging Mr. Nigeria pageant or something like that. I would build it Miss Nigeria pageant, right? It was one of the judges. And that was fantastic. So it doesn't have to be peer reviewing. Every field has opportunity to judge something. Tony Elumelu, for example, every year they give entrepreneurs money. There are people who are judging who gets that money. If you have something to show us that you were invited to be a judge for that type of program and you actually participated in the judging, and after the whole program is done, they sent you a thank you note, we can use that. I'm explaining this because I don't want you to think it's people in academia, it's only them that they want. It's not only them. Bring what you have. We can evaluate it for you and say, oh, you have done this, you have done that, that will work as well. So you are in tech, there was a cybersecurity hackathon, and university students came to present their innovation. You were one of the judges who judged the hackathon to be able to give a prize of $5,000 to first place, 2,000 to second place, 1,000 to third place. There were 50 people who presented their work, and you guys picked 3. That can also work. That is judge of other people's work. You are in the finance space. There was a finance pitch that secondary school students came to pitch. This finance organization, I can organize it for secondary school students on financial literacy. So each school, 50 schools submitted their best finance person. They came to pitch their finance ideas. And out of these 50, you guys picked 10 students, and you were one of the judges, right? I'm explaining this because I want you to start to think, where have I participated in judging? Or there was one of our clients who was a judge for, there was this women in finance stuff that they were doing yearly in Nigeria. She was a judge for the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs come to pitch for that women in finance stuff. And there were about 30 people that pitched. They picked 2. She was one of the judges. And we were able to use that, and it went through. So I'm explaining this because I want you to take a step back. What have I participated in over the years? Have I had a chance to judge anybody's work? So it doesn't have to be just people in academia. Their own is peer reviewing. Have you judged an hackathon? I remember there was a time back in the day where Niger was doing this hackathon for youths in Nigeria, and I was a judge for Niger. I was judging. People submitted, they pitched their innovation. Me and a bunch of, I think, 15 people who were engineers, technical people, we judged it. And that alone was good enough that I could use. And I'm explaining this because every profession, there is an opportunity to judge, whether you are also an entrepreneur. I am in the beauty space, and there was this competition for young people who are coming into the beauty space, entrepreneurs, for them to win 1 million naira to 5 million naira. And we had 50 people pitch. I was one of the people that judged them. We can use that. I told you now, somebody was on a panel of Miss Nigeria. You were on the panel of The Voice Nigeria. You were one of the panelists or judge. Think about some of these things that you have done, because some of them we can use. Or you were a peer reviewer for abstracts for a conference. A conference was happening and you were a peer reviewer for the abstract. We can use that. Serving as a member of a PhD dissertation committee. So you are in the academia space, and you were one of the advisory committee member of a student that did PhD. You can use that. Or you peer review government research funding programs. So there is this government research funding programs. You were one of the peer reviewer for that. That can also work. And these are the ones that USCIS listed. But I have given us other examples that I have seen work based on the work we do. We've had people who had done these various ones that I had explained and gone through. So this judge of other people's work looks like it's only people in academia, but it is not. If you had judged anything else, you can bring it forward in your consultation. I can evaluate it for you and see whether it would work for this criteria or not. I want to ask, we are at criteria 4. Let's get to criteria 5. So you can tell me how many of these criteria do you actually already met. Now, the 5th one here is original contribution. If the person's original scientific, scholarly, artistic, athletic, or business-related contributions of major significance in the field. What do they mean by original contribution? You actually developed something. We need you to have developed something. That thing, examples of relevant evidence. Publish materials about the significance of the person's original work. What is your original work? Original work is something that you created, that you developed, and that is patent worthy, that you can license. Oh, I did a PhD thesis, and then we created this, we developed this, is an innovation. Then that is great. The other day I was on social media, and then I saw this Nigerian woman who said she had developed a method for extracting this type of hair, this from what is it called? Plantain trucks, plantain trees, the trunk of plantain trees, that she has developed a method to extract this hair, human hair, attachments and weave-ons from it. She had developed that method. What came to my mind immediately is, did she file a patent? Has she trademarked this? Because that is the type of work thing we are looking for here. She needs to license that quickly. And I want to challenge us as Africans. Oftentimes, we have developed something, but we didn't patent it. Why? Because she's, patent, you know how much that thing costs? Patent costs, patent costs. I don't get money, just small thing. You just downplay your own achievement. I say, it's just small thing, I don't get money. Did you even try to publish a paper about it? I know, patent is costly, you don't get money. Did you even publish a paper? Can you put it into a publication, at least? Because a lot of us are sitting on something that is patentable, something that is licensable, and we just didn't do anything. Why? Because of our anyhowness. Anyhowness is a disease of Nigerians. Let's just be telling ourselves the truth. Anyhowness. Something that you should patent. Something that you should find trademark for. Something that you should put into publication. You have time to stay on social media. You don't have time to write journal paper. You don't have time to put this into a patent. I want us to start to take these things serious, because these are things that are giving people opportunities and opening doors for them here, right? Like, I want you to see it, especially if you've created anything, you've done some, because I'm saying this because that woman, she didn't have a PhD. We don't know the technique she's using for conversion of that banana tree, but when I look at what she said that she had created, they are also not using it for only weave-on. They are using it to make shoes and different things like that. We should not be like our parents who created a lot of technology, but they never patented them, so they never got credit for them. If you've developed something, whether you're a researcher, you're not a researcher, approach a patent lawyer. Let them put it down as a patent for you. Even if it's not a full patent, yes, file provisional patent. At least get something recorded. You have something that you've developed, trademark that idea so that somebody else don't snatch it from you. Or you are in a research space, publish it as a publication so that is a start, and move on and patent it when you have the money. I hope this is clear. Now, if you have something like that, right, USCIS want you, if you have licensed your work, the work that you have created, you have now licensed it to 4 companies. They are now using it. They want testimonials or affidavits about that original work, that people are using it. They want affidavits that this is a good work. They want patents. They want licenses deriving from your work, right? Because it is not yours except it is patented. It is not yours except it is licensed. It is not yours. There's no claim that we can have on it. Somebody else can just snatch it from you, right? Now, we're going to number 6. The person's authorship of scholarly articles in the field, in professional or major trade publications or other major media. Have you published a journal paper? Did you publish a book? Did you actually publish conference presentations? And I want to explain that. There are 2 types of conference presentations. The first one is, I was invited to present at this conference. I've presented, and that's about it. There is also the opportunity to say, after the presentation, that conference, they put it in a digital library as a conference proceedings. If it was just I presented, is not anywhere, it's not on their website, it's not anywhere, we actually cannot use it because nobody can reference it. It cannot be used by other people. It cannot be a citation because you just presented it. It was not put somewhere else where somebody can use it. But if it was a conference presentation and after it became a conference proceeding and is now living in a digital library, somebody can still cite it in their papers or in their upcoming conference as well, then we can use that type of conference proceeding. Or you have a journal paper, or you have published a book. Any of those three we can use. Now, I'm including the ones that USCIS didn't put as example that are applicable to people who are not in the science field or who are not researchers, like publishing a book. I have worked with someone who had published 2 books and got an approval in the first boom, right? There was no RFE, there was nothing. So I know that she had published a book. What do we look for if you've published a book? I'm looking to see your book, especially if you publish this in a place like Seller or Amazon. This person that had published a book, we've worked with 2 people now who have published a book. The first person had their book on Amazon. We looked at the book on Amazon, which countries were the book being purchased. We saw that the books were purchased in the US, in Nigeria, in the UK. It was also a few of it were also purchased in China. So we were able to emphasize, and some in South Africa, that this book had gone internationally, impacting people in various countries. Why? We can download the book circulation from Amazon. If you're someone here, you're thinking about publishing a book, please make sure that you are not just publishing this book and selling physical copies. Make sure that there is opportunity for people to buy it online, because for your physical copies sold, it's your word against USCIS that have sold 100,000 copies. It's your word against USCIS. The one that was bought on Amazon, they can see the circulation. They can see when the book was bought. And what I now like about the first person that we worked with that had a book was some people left reviews about the book on Amazon, and we could see the location. This person's review is from the United States. This person's review is from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. This reviewer is from Lagos, Nigeria. This reviewer is from Kaduna, Nigeria. So it showed that people read the book and they actually got knowledge transferred to them. So if you're someone thinking, I have a book, I want you to go back and look at the book you published 4 years ago. How much circulation has it had on Amazon? Or if you had a book, you have never thought of pushing it in a platform that can give us the circulation, please go and put it in those platforms. And if you had a book, people had bought the book, they have never reviewed the book online. I want you to make an effort to reach out to people who had bought your book. You probably have their mail. Put them in a mailing list. Let them give you feedback publicly. Don't be afraid of feedback regarding a product you sell. Because if it is good, with your full chest, you should expect that people will give you feedback. And feedback is what makes people grow. And feedback is what USCIS they chop. So we need the feedback if you have a book. Now, if you are in the academia space, we would be happy to know that your book has been cited by others in the field. Your book or your paper. I've published this journal paper. It has 50 citations. I have 5 journal papers. They have 70 citations. Fantastic. I have this paper. It has 2 citations. Citation na citation. Especially if it's not like an old journal. It's a new journal, so it's still growing, but we can still see citation. What if it doesn't have citation? I'll tell you this. All examiners are not the same. We had a client, a book, a journal paper. She published it with a Nigerian journal, African something. She's in finance. It was published last year. She hasn't gotten any citation. She still went through. And I'm explaining this because I had seen that citation has been something that is holding some of you back and say, this thing doesn't have citation well. I've seen someone that didn't have any citation that went through. So if you had published that journal paper, let's look at the credibility, where you publish it, and content of it, and it can be used. Even with zero citation, I've seen it gone through. What I prefer, or what is generally preferred, is that it's been cited by others. So it would help you a whole lot more. Yeah, but it's not compulsory. If you don't have citation, it will still grow. Now, we have 6 here that we've gone through, 6 criteria. I want to know, out of these 6, how many have you cited that I have that, or I have this, but I still need to probably, how many have you seen that you have? I would like to see in the comment section how many you have, because this will also help me know whether this is something that could work for you. Now, let's move on to criterion 7. This criterion 7 is for people in the field that are artistic, right? Like you're an artist, that if you display of the person's work in the field at an artistic exhibition or showcases. So if you're one of those people who paints, you're one of those people who draws, you are one of those 3D artists or anything related to that, your work is had to be showcased in an exhibition, an art exhibition, or there's a public showing of your work. Absolutely. Or you are one of those people who are a fashion brand. Your work was presented at Lagos Fashion Week. Baby, that's the criteria, man. You went and showcased your work, your nice outfit at Lagos Fashion Week. You went and showcased it at New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, London Fashion Week. Bring it to the front, because that criteria is a slam dunk for you. And this is why this is not just for professionals. This is also for entrepreneurs. So we have to look, what do you have in your hands? How can we position you? If you know someone, like in Nigeria now, we have a lot of ready-to-wear brands that are taking their brands global. They are taking their brands, they're ready to wear, they're taking it to Lagos Fashion Week showcase, they're taking their ready to wear to New York Fashion Week, to Paris Fashion Week, to London Fashion Week. Or you're an artist, your artistry work is showcased in South Africa at an exhibition. Whatever you have in your hands, you can put it forward, we can look at it and see. It has to be work of art, objects of manufacture, or athletic skill. So object of manufacture, all the outfits, all the different ones, it would work for that. All right. Now let's move on to criterion 8. The person has performed in a leading or critical role for organizations or establishments that have a distinguished reputation. Who is counted as someone whose work is a leading role? You are a senior engineer, a senior accountant, a supervisor, a director, a manager. And what should be some of the things that we're looking at for you? Because let me read a few things under consideration. In evaluating this, the officers examine that the role is either critical or leading. It can be leading and critical, but what if I'm not a senior? I'm just a staff engineer, or I'm just an engineer, but my work is critical. Your work is related to developing an innovation that was released and has made this company millions. You are not a senior, but your work is critical. Your work, you determined something and found a waste and saved the company 20 million, and it affects the company's bottom line. Even if you are not a director, yes, your work is critical. You are a scientist, you're working in an IVF clinic. Your team and you developed a new technology for IVF. that is revolutionizing the industry, that work is critical. I'm explaining this because you may not hold a leadership role and your work can still pass under this direction because it is critical. Now, you may also be on the leadership side. You are leading a project that is heavy. Your project that you are leading, the value is $200 million. You are leading a team of 200 people. So that is leading, right? So we have to determine, are you on the leading side or are you on the critical side? So they have to establish that your work has contributed in a way that is of significant importance to the outcome of the organization or establishment's activities, or those of the division of the or department of the organization or establishment. So you have to contribute tremendously to the company's bottom line, which means what you're bringing forward is not just your job offer letter. We need to quantify, since you have been working in that company, what are some important contributions that you've had? Can we quantify it with metrics? If we can quantify it with metrics, how big is it? Does it affect the company's bottom line? Now, you know it's your word against USCIS because these are internal stuff happening. But what are some things we can use to prove this? If what you have, we can say that there is your manager. Your manager is willing to write a recommendation letter and state that what you said you have done it. So in fact, you have helped us in this capacity and capacity like this. And truly, you have done this and that. We can use that. Your performance review, which is yours, every year, they give you a performance review. That performance review, if it stated those things that you're claiming that you've done, we can use that. You have won a key award in your company, and that award is specifically because of that contribution. We can put that forward, that look, I've done this, and that is why I got this award. So what we need to think about, what is it I'm going to use to prove that I've done these things? Now, examples of critical role is not just about your 9 to 5. If you're a member of a key committee within a distinguished organization, some of us, we like volunteering. You are in that organization, that membership thing that you are. You are not just a silent member. You have risen to a high position. Or you saw a non-for-profit. You went and started volunteering with them. Over the years, you moved from just a member to becoming a board member. You're now a director within the non-for-profit. And you are a director of finance. And you have been helping them with managing the finances. And you have appointment letter that this non-for-profit have appointed you as a director. Fantastic. You are sitting on a board of a company. You are an advisory board member. You are meeting with this company once every quarter or every 6 months to advise them on an area related to your field. We can use that. You have been part of that, what is it called? Journal. You are part of that journal. You went from being a peer reviewer to now join their editorial board. You are now on their editorial board. We can use that as well, because and this is why your career is not only going to rely on your 9 to 5 job. And that's why I said earlier, please do peer reviewer. Please go and join a non-for-profit in your field, or where you can, or it may not be in your field, but you can contribute in your capacity. I'm the founder of STEM Up Foundation in Canada. Founder, so I'm on the board. STEM Up Foundation started in 2017. That's 8 years ago. It's a charity organization. To become charity in Canada, it means you're a reputable organization. So that is our automatic leadership role. Founder. And this not-for-profit has received thousands of dollars from several companies, several other big organizations, so that we can support people with STEM activities, with STEM teaching, with professional certifications, and those people don't get a pay. Can I use? Yes. If I was thinking that there was nothing in it for me, will I even start that non-for-profit in the first place? No. There are some people who are now sitting on the board, the advisory board of STEM Hub. Can they use that? Yes, they can. The good deeds that you are going to do is not just for you, it's for your career. You have been rejecting joining anything because you're saying, I'm busy. Life is busy. My work is busy. Then when we need to gather documents together, it's going to be hard because you didn't do anything except that 9 to 5. I need you to step out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is that 9 to 5. And you that you own a business, when they come and say, come and be a part of this, come on, you're just saying, you people don't know how it is to run a business. What documents are we going to put together for you, madam? Daddy, which documents? You have refused to support anything else. All right. So these are other examples of people who can do leadership role. So it's either leading or it's critical, as I explained. It can be leading where we have evidence to prove that you've started something, or we have evidence to say that you are leading a team, or you are leading a huge project or something. Or it's a critical role where your work is substantially affecting the company. And you may not have a big title, but your work is big. And then we need validation that that work is critical. We need metrics. We need recommendation letters where you can use an award to back it up. We can use performance review, things like that to back it up. All right. Number 9, the person has commanded a high salary or other significantly high remuneration in relation to others in their profession. So, you know, who are the people that this usually work for easily in Nigeria? You know that you work in a fintech company, you work in oil and gas, you work in the non-for-profit sector, and your project is associated with USAID or World Bank. Or those people, they make more than the average people. You're a tech bro. You have this remote job and all. Well, those people usually easily make more than everybody. So if you're one of those people, there's a very high chance that you're making more. Now, but we have to prove it. We need your tax returns. We just don't need your pay stubs. We need your tax returns to show that that pay stub was not doctored. Tax returns help us. We need other things. Like for each country, there is a remuneration data for your field. Now, for countries like Nigeria, it's very difficult to find the remuneration data field by field. And I want to make it clear here, USCIS is not going to accept Glassdoor or pay Kiniko. They will not accept that. They want you to give them a salary survey. So oftentimes we have to do the salary surveys if your country don't have the data available. Countries like the US, Canada, and other places, they have it available. So we can get it. Now, I want you to start to think, is my remuneration high? We can always determine that, right? And if you book a consultation, it can help you determine and check against your counterparts. Number 10, commercial success in the performing arts as shown by the box office, receipts or record, cassette, compact disc, or video sales. This is strictly for actors because it has to be in performing arts. Performing arts means you are someone who is on TV, or you are in the theater or something like that. We need box office records, right? Like, oh, who can bring this forward? Oh, I was in this movie, Sugar Rush, and I was one of the actors, and Sugar Rush is #1 movie like this. I was in a wedding party. I was actors, actresses. This is something that I can use. My movie is on Netflix and all of that. This would work fine. Now, these are the 10 criteria. And I want to know, how many do you have at the moment? What is in your hand? We have gone through the 10. Now I want to go to the other screen that makes it easy for us to. I hope that I want to quickly go to another screen. All right, I'm coming down here so that I can show the 10 as one at once. I hope you can see my screen again. So these are the 10 criteria. And let me put it up at the stage. So these are the 10 criteria. I want to ask you, out of the 10 criteria, how much of this do you have? And it'll be good to know how much of this do you have, because this is where the conversation starts. We want to see, okay, I have out of this 10, I have 2. Out of this 10, I have 3. And this, I hope that this idea like at least give you a good idea of, if I want to get my green card in 6 months, then I need to get at least 3 of these. Sometimes people have 4, but sometimes people have 5. Sometimes people think they have 5. Then when you book a consultation, I may see a red flag in 1, or sometimes people think they don't have more than 2. Then if you come on a consultation, I'll look at what else can you get based on your expertise, based on what you can get, based on where you live and all of that. Then we put it in for you. Now, let us go straight to a few things. You remember that there are 2 sections, right? The first section, we skipped it. We just went straight to the second section. Now, I want us to go back to that first section, because USCIS is not only looking for, give us this criteria. They also want to make sure that who they're bringing to the US has also these 3 things, which is under the eligibility A. At the stage. Can you see my screen again? I hope you can see my screen. So this is where we started from. The policy manual, we skip this eligibility. Now, for self-petitioners, which is you, because employer is not filing it for you, the USCIS wants you to also meet these 3 criteria. They want to make sure that you have sustained national or international acclaim. What are some things that we can have to say that you have sustained national or international acclaim? You are someone that has been talking on TV about something, or you have been featured in newspaper in an interview talking about your area of work. That is something that is in circulation. You're an expert, you're a subject matter expert. You have been sitting on a panel advising about certain things that are related to your career. That is sustained national acclaim. They called you to come and be a peer reviewer for your colleagues. That means you are a sound expert. So we can claim that for sustained national, international claim. You've published a book, and that book has been selling in Amazon or different places. That means people want to hear your voice. Technically, if we're saying that I'm a sustained national or international acclaim person, we're saying that I'm a thought leader in my field. Now, what are the elements of thought leadership? When you speak, people listen. Where do you speak? On a panel. Where do you speak? In newspaper. When you speak, you write a journal paper. So you're a thought leader. People listen to you. People listen to what you have to say. I'll tell you this. 3 days ago, I was just finishing work for the day. I haven't done 3D printing in a while, like 3 years-ish or so. I was just finishing my day, and then I got an email from a reporter from USA Today. And it was because there was Starbucks had just 3D printed a building, and they are going to launch it this week. And that reporter reached out to me to say, I'd like to interview you quickly to just hear your thoughts about this new thing that Starbucks did. Why? Because even if I haven't done 3D printing in 3 years, and I haven't worked for an employer in 3 years for 3D printing, it doesn't mean that I lost my expertise. I didn't lose my voice. I'm still a thought leader in that industry. So when there are issues in that industry, reporters can still find me and say, what's your thought on that? And that is what thought leadership is. People want to see what you have to say because they respect your voice. They respect your expertise. So you have to take a step back and ask yourself, all right, what do I have that I can use to convince anybody that I'm a thought leader? Okay, I have publications. I've published journalism papers. I have presented at 3 conferences. That's great. Or I've sat on a panel. That's great. Oh, the TV station invited me for this. I spoke about that. That's great. I granted an interview on this. That's great. So those are elements of thought leadership. If there's something you want to work for your career, not just for immigration, it's your thought leadership. Because as a thought leader, you don't even look for a job. Job looks for you. Now, continue to work in the areas of expertise in the US. We want to be able to show USCIS that if you're coming into the US, your work, you're going to continue in that field. How can we show that? Whether you have a partnership going with a US company, you are someone who has presented at US conferences and different things like that. We can use that to be able to prove that you will continue your work because you're already grew your network in the US. Now, your entry will substantially benefit the US. What are you saying that you are coming to do? I'm saying that I am this person, I'm a professional in 3D printing, and I can literally tell them, look, Starbucks just printed a building using 3D printing, and maybe it's sustainable. It's more sustainable than traditional building, or it's reduction in waste is going to happen. I'm one of the experts in 3D printing. If you let me in, I'm going to contribute to this new innovation that is happening in your country. And this is the benefit of that innovation, reduction in waste, fast building. They can build these things within weeks instead of months and all that. I'm an expert, and this is a need that will benefit the US. So we need to demonstrate that. Now, I'm explaining those three, but oftentimes our focus is on let's just see how many of these criteria you have. Because if you have those criteria, we can always use those criteria to argue these three for you. Now, we have talked about, let me remove this and just be back on here. We've talked about this criteria. I want you to take a step back. You know, it's the United States, right? It's not easy, right? But if you are one of those people who have this achievements, you have these qualifications, you put in the work, or you even have two, you don't have up to three, feel free to book a consultation with me. Let's help you look at it and say, what else can you add to this? And secondly, I want to say this, even if this is not something that interests you today, still keep growing your profile. Now, for USCIS, the process is two types of process. The first one is I-140 approval, which is I want to get an approval to say they've reviewed everything I submitted. My case is a yes. If your I-140 get a positive response, now you proceed to either consular processing. If you're outside the US, you can proceed to consular processing. Once your approval for your I-140 is done, USCIS will send your application to the nearest US embassy that to you. So if you're in Lagos, they will send it to the nearest US embassy there. And then once that application gets there, then you book an appointment to go and appear for an interview and then get the second stage done. If you are in the US, then because you're here, you will file your 485, I-485 from inside the US, right? You don't have to go back outside. You can do it here. Depending on the type of visa that you have used to come in, you could do it from inside. Now, I would say this, right? This visa is for people with extraordinary ability. Everybody don't qualify, but you could qualify if you meet some of those criteria. Something that is very clear with us as Nigerians is that we don't even know our own value. We don't even know that oftentimes what you have in your hand could open these doors for us. So we keep struggling, we keep waiting for an employer to file for us, we keep looking for other methods, whereas only if we know this type of method is actually available and we have what it takes to actually challenge it. So I want to ask you today that I want you in this month of May, that I want you to wear the garment of daring, the garment of audacity. I want you to wear the garment of, I want to try something outside of my comfort zone. If there's a voice in your head that is telling you you're not good enough, this is not for you, I want you to knock it down and say that there's no mountain that is too high for you to climb, especially because you've put in the work. And say, yeah, you know, right? You would have this voice in your head telling you as an entrepreneur, what do you have? With this, that small thing in your hand could land you in the US on a green card. So if you keep downplaying your achievement, keep downplaying who you are, you're not going to go forward. This week, my mantra for this week is that what you want is in the other side of fear. That quit just being afraid or quit downplaying yourself. Now, I want to take questions. For people on Instagram, it's actually going to be difficult for me to take a question because I'm running this on StreamYard. But after this call, I'm going to ask you, I put up a post before that you should ask me any question. I'm wearing a yellow top or so in that post. Go and ask your question from this under that post. I will leave this IG live and go to that post if you're on Instagram and then answer those questions. If you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, I can see your question. So please, if you have any question, you want me to clarify anything, please go ahead and ask me. My hope is to see more Nigerians get things done easily without having to merry-go-round. There are many people on F1 visa right now who already, while on that F1 visa, they already qualify for EB1A. There are many people who are not even looking that this is for them, that they already qualify for it. We can get things done in a different way than what everybody tells us. When our people come to the US, they tell them different things. Go back to school, go and do this and that. But if nobody has told you about this process, now you know. The priority date for EB1A is current, which means if I get my I-140 approved, I can move on to applying for my green card. So the entire process can take you about 6 months, pretty much, right? Like you can get it done in 3 to 6 months, and it's possible to do it. It's possible. What is in your hand? Let me ask you that question again. How many of these criteria did you meet? You have questions you don't want to ask publicly, slide into our DM. I have another 30 minutes. I can answer those questions myself. Just come and meet me in the DM if you're shy. Thank you for joining today. I hope that this was able to clarify questions about what is needed to get this process. How can I get my green card in 6 months? And that you're now thinking about how to beef up those criteria so that this can be something that you look back and say, wow, I'm already in the United States. I'm a US citizen, and I tell you that one of the best decisions of my life was to move to this country. It doesn't matter what you think, but I believe that the opportunities that the United States afforded me, no other country had given that to me up till date. And I want that for you as well. Well, feel free to slide into the DM if you have a question. Like I said, if you're from Instagram, go back, put your question under that post I did this morning, and I'll be there to answer as well. Slide into the DM if you have any question. Have a good rest of your day, and God bless you. This video will be available on YouTube, on Instagram. Feel free to share with somebody who can learn from this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that whenever we go live, you get to see us. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. Thank you all.